All right. Can you guys hear me now? Hello. Great. I just updated my MacBook. Was hoping that it would fix the Discord issue, but I guess still has not. It still persists to today. One day we'll get it fixed. So how's everyone doing today? Hey there, Roxiano, No Future, Nestor. How's everyone doing? I'm doing fine. Got my kid down just in time for the call, so that's always nice. Managing a little man. And now I got him watching him on my little phone here, so make sure he doesn't wake up. On the Pixelcraft side, Zonza, you actually pointed this out to me earlier today. Our team has been doing a lot of work actually on the Aavegotchi 3D SDK and have added a bunch of assets to the GitHub for the SDK. I'm gonna take a screenshot here of all the prefabs that have just been added because it's quite thorough. Eris from our team was working on them. We don't have any. This is like very, very kind of off the cuff here. We don't have any screenshots yet. I think he just finished this. Maybe Zonza, you have some screenshots if you've been jumping in there. But here's the list of like all the prefabs that have been added this week to the Aavegotchi Unity SDK. So all sorts of stuff. Everything from the maps, I think probably Spirit Force Arena stuff is in there, Protolix, Fog, Explosion, like everything that we were using in the Gotchiverse 3D and Spirit Force Arena is all in the SDK right now. So pretty big grab bag of stuff to play with if you're interested in building anything on the SDK. So that's pretty exciting. And yeah, Zonza, you are going to town on that. I'm curious if there anything specific that you were looking to build with the SDK now that you have all these new assets in there. So that's a bit of good news. On the less good news side, I did put an announcement out in DeFi Dungeons that I've decided to, at least for now, kind of sunset the DeFi Dungeons project. Just really, no one was really kind of coming over from the community, even after I made it available for anyone with a Gotchi to play. So at least for now, I don't really see much interest from the community in the game. And I'm just gonna sunset development of it, at least for now. Might come back to it at another time. But I will be open sourcing the code if anyone wants to continue with it, and at least or see how it was made. It's pretty interesting tech. And yeah, thanks for everyone for playing it. And let's go back to the drawing board and see if there's something else we can build that people would want to engage with more. It's interesting because the original version of it was actually kind of a proto Gotchiverse, and I think I talked about that in some calls before, that with not too much work could have become like a 2D Gotchiverse using the game sprites. But I wanted to start off with the dungeon crawler aspect first and then kind of build out more to the Gotchiverse. But no one was really playing that one, so I didn't really get much feedback about whether or not that was interesting to people and whether or not it could become the next, like, hopefully the final iteration of the Gotchiverse. So just explaining how things, how it got to this point. I decided to pivot it to an idle battler because that's where I try to be respectful of people's time. Not everyone has time to sit there and game all day. So I figured, well, maybe we can get more interest from the community with the idle battler, which takes significantly less time than the the original dungeon crawler mechanic. But the numbers actually stayed pretty much the same. I think we got maybe a few people came over, tried the dungeon, the idle versus the dungeon, but a lot of the dungeon players preferred that. So I don't know, there was some churn there as well. And again, after opening it up to everyone, didn't really see anyone new coming in or talking about it or wanting to play. So it just feels like that's community is not super interested in that direction right now, even though there originally was like a path towards moving it towards the Gotchiverse multiplayer. And I see PG's message here. I wish there was more options for passive stakers. Yeah, like they how to explain, DeFi Dungeon actually came from the original, inspiration for it was the Hungry Ghosts, which PG, we worked actually a lot on thinking about that, trying to make it something that the community would be interested in without too much extra work, because we didn't just want to do like a fully passive staking mechanic. We wanted to do something that's a little bit gamified, which is what the second iteration of DeFi Dungeons really, that's pretty much a gamified staking program. Like is I don't know, it maybe it could be even more simple, but that's definitely the direction it was going in. And still, like, the prizes were decent, I think. Still didn't get much interest from people. So yeah, I agree there could be more options for passive stakers of Ghost in the protocol. This was one attempt to accomplish that and see if people wanted it. But Ghost deposits, we never really, even in the Hell tier, where there were 10 open slots, I think at our max, we only had 3 people like joining the Hell tier, which is where the most of the rewards were. So that was like, I was a little bit confused by that. It's like you just put some USDC in and you get a Ghost yield, almost guaranteed. So I guess back to the drawing board. We'll see what other ideas maybe that can engage more of the holders. I did see some people saying that they just didn't have time to play Gotchi Battler and Life and things like that, which I get. Although, it wasn't a huge time investment to play it. And I also saw some people saying that we were like preparing to ask the DAO for a big funding round or something for the game, which is, again, kind of not based in reality, because I had said multiple times already that Pixelcraft was not going to ask the DAO for any more funds. So I don't know where that came from. There was absolutely zero intention to ask for any funds for DeFi Dungeons. Maybe a little bit of rewards, like if the game had proven itself, but certainly not for operations or anything. Yeah, base app pivoting was definitely a curveball, as the mobile version really was kind of meant for the base app, and it just shows like this whole environment that we're trying to build in is very, very tricky. Like we're building on sand, constantly moving sand. Oh, happy birthday, Nadio. So yeah, that's just the current status of DeFi Dungeon. Happy to answer any other questions anyone has about the game or what led up to this, or and all that. You can still play the game, and any USDC or Ghost you put in can be withdrawn, and it's on chain, so you can withdraw it forever, even if the website goes down. But I don't have any plans to take it down. Say, it doesn't really cost much to like keep the game itself on. It's just a Hetzner server, basically. All that's really stopping is the development and the rewards. How much did the Gotchiverse 2D? At its peak, the Gotchiverse 2D, our infrastructure was so complex, and because we were trying to have basically 3 regions, Tokyo, US East, and Europe, essentially communicating with each other real time with as little latency as possible, which required basically multiple environments for each region, like staging, development, and production. And those were all like AWS EC2 instances, I think, running on Kubernetes. And then on top of that, you had the transfer layer, which was Redis, which was also very expensive because there was just a ton of data being sent through all the time. And so each environment had its own Redis layer, and then there was like a master layer. So all in all, at its peak, I believe we were just on like servers and things. It was the AWS bill was probably, I think, I think at its peak it was $20,000 a month for what was really not a lot of players. We were talking, maybe hundreds of players. And when we talked to our team that was building it, they weren't super confident that it wouldn't scale exponentially, or at least linearly, that price with more players. So we were like, man, come on, guys. Like, we spent a lot of time building this thing, trying to build it to the spec that we outlined in the white paper, which was like pretty ambitious, and ended up just being extremely costly to develop and to maintain. So that's what happened with Gotchiverse 2D. 3D verse, yeah, we are still, Eris and the team are like, we've built a lot of the assets now. We got basically parity with 2D in terms of farming, and it's still like being actively developed by the team. Yeah, not super quickly, but we are pushing updates to it. Yeah, the scaled down version of the 2D was kind of what I was thinking of moving into with after the DeFi dungeon crawler part was complete, and maybe like using instead of using the libraries that we were using for the original 2D, moving to the new kind of more newer real-time tech that I was using for DeFi dungeons, and which is also used by kind of a couple, I think Pixels Online uses it, a couple other Web3 games. But even then, like the development and the knowledge behind that to make it actually work properly at scale is like, it's even with AI, it's not trivial. using a US server and expanding from there. It's a pretty bad experience for people in Asia. Like where for me developing it, trying to play on a US server is pretty awful. I literally can't develop the game properly if I'm only playing it on a US server. So it kind of need at least two regions. Yeah. At that time, when we were making 2D, we did have quite a large, and we still do. I mean, we have our community is spread all over the world, so we were just trying to have it be as low latency as possible for everyone, while still allowing everyone to have a sense that we were all connected in a single world, which is like, I think it was an ambitious thing, and even today, it's still ambitious to do that. Instead of having like a bunch of instances where everyone just connects to having basically one shared instance. Yeah, it's not easy. So, well, we'll go back to the drawing board here and see. Obviously, we're community is pretty busy right now with the battler tournaments, which is awesome. So, buys us some time. In the meantime, I guess let's go into the DAO call. So we have Nestor here. Foreign, hello.
Jam, hello. How is everyone today?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Just enjoying a not too hot, not too cold spring day.
Perfect.
Awesome. So let's jump into the DAO call for the 25th of April. We have one closed proposal, which had already hit quorum. Hooray. Last call, but it finally closed a few days ago, and we have our multi-sig signers election and rules all set now. So I think Nestor or someone might probably give us an update on how we're going with onboarding and offboarding our signers. Currently underway. Thank you, Faze. So hopefully that should be finished pretty quickly. We've had good time to get ourselves organized, and it only took, was it 3 props to get this one over? So hopefully we can have a look at the tiers later on. But yeah, so we have our signers. Hooray for that. And then we just have our discussion. The market making. Nestor gave us an update last Monday in the thread. Coinbase has now been added our liquidity, so that's another exchange on the list. Let me see if I can add the picture. That one there. So we have MEXC, Coinbase, and Kraken active as we speak. I think the only other exchange that was mentioned previously was Gate.io. So I don't know what's happening with that one, if Nestor is available to give us an update. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Foreign.
Welcome.
Hi, Codadan. Is there an echo, or is it good?
It sounds good to me.
Sounds good to you. All right, then I rather speak without the earphones. So I didn't quite understand the exchange you mentioned. Which one was that? The last one?
I think it was Gate.io was mentioned as a
Gate.io.
potential
Correct.
option.
That was something that was mentioned by, I think Justin mentioned it. And well, as we mentioned it, would be time again maybe to invite him. Uh, um, there wasn't anything that he detailed out regarding Gate.io. So
No, it was just mentioned
not
as
as
an option for the 4.
it was an option. And yes, I also seen they didn't like make a timeline for adding the exchanges, so I'm glad that well these three are now served. And any further plan we would have to decide on us as a community. And if there was something urgent, they would, of course, well, they would let us know. So we can we can assume that so far on this front, everything is in order. I'm
Lovely.
just checking if there was something recently. No, I don't see any messages from them.
When was
So
the
yes,
last time we got a report, or are we just pulling it from the dashboard?
we can pull from the dashboard. I asked the other trader or liquidity manager from Skynet. He is every month sending a report, making a report. The last one for March should be in the thread, in the market making thread. I'm just checking. That was eBank. I'm just looking through the thread. I don't was convinced that. Yeah, here it is on the 4th of April. There is the Ghost March Skynet trading report, and he gave it to me with the comment that of course there was a lot of movement of our funds, so it is not quite like representative of what we would see every month. So like a stable a stable report. Our reports will look differently. Yeah, now that we have like all three exchanges active, because in this report, as I see it now, I have it here. There we have only Maxi. Yeah. So our funds back then were at that moment moving, so to speak. So we don't have everything on that. But this is something we can expect every month as a written report. But of course, it's always well, if we have something to chat about with him, then yeah, like ideally, I think the procedure to deliver some questions beforehand for Justin. I had the feeling, or he said explicitly that that was the mode he preferred, and then he can prepare. And I think every time we did that, I think 2 times we did that like that, and then we, I think, got a lot of information from him.
We did, yeah. He was very good when he came on the call. No, well, it'll be interesting to see the next report now that we have everything active. So all good.
Right. Yes. And I think that the conclusion last time was, or one thing that we learned, that indeed we have made, the account has made some a plus, like they are trading as it seems with a profit. So would be nice to see what they say now. Yeah, now that they have free exchanges at their disposal, and what they could do. As you know, our agreement is to trade delta neutral, which means they don't intend like to move the ghost price in any direction. Yeah, that would be something that we would have to tell them if we wanted to have that like differently.
Mhm. For sure. But it's nice to see a little bit of profit coming in from that and playing it
Oh yeah.
safe.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So at least I would say what we have the retainer that we are paying to recapitulate that is 5,000 per month. We spoke about it in the thread with Immaterial too, and I checked with Justin. That is a few weeks back. Adding another exchange would raise the price. I hope they could offer the same price still to 6,000 per month. But one could say this fee, as I understand it, if we take all our money back, this fee would have been paid. So the liquidity, the service that we receive from them would have been paid off through the profits they made, as I understand it. So I would like to also to check on that, and I think that would be ideal next week. That would be the 2nd, right? So a new month. I will see to it that that hopefully they have time. Yeah, and if we want that, I would say.
Wonderful. Cool. Well, I'm not seeing anything related in the chat. So I think for now we can leave it at that. If anyone has any questions for Justin or wants any more information, the thread is there. Jump in, ask your questions, and the report is in there as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for the next one in the next 2 week and a half. And yeah, cool. Market making is rolling. So the next thing I had on the agenda was the quorum tiers that we were
Yeah,
looking at actually implementing, given the recent issues with hitting quorums. So you ran some
exactly.
experiments that you posted in the thread. Did you want to go through anything or?
Oh yes, I mean, if there's interest in it, any way I can make a short summary of it, or could also make a deep
Yeah,
dive.
I think a
Uh,
short summary would be cool just to
yeah.
give us a
Um,
rundown for anyone who didn't see the thread.
yes, if you want to, it's a lot to read, but in the end, I made it like bite-sized. So if you look into the thread, I will open it myself now. Last week, Coda suggested, mentioned, I already have seen it, this LLM council of Bicar Party. And that's like, you can imagine, like 4 LLMs are in this council and they are discussing with each other. They are giving comments, they are assessing the questions, the prompts, and then they are rating each other. There's a next round where they rate each other, and in the end, there is a chairman of this council that's also an LLM, and he like decides on what is the most sensible answer for a certain question. So quite an interesting setup. So it took me some time to set it up, to make some configurations. In the end, I documented that the whole run cost about I don't know $1 or $1.50, and it returned some material. The concrete questions and prompts I have posted, or I can repost them, are regarding the quorum tiers. Not only the quorum tiers, also I worked into it. I can speak about that. The potential or like an exemplary vote on an important government issue that would be officers, like our treasury officer or other officers that we want to employ and want to have to take care of certain businesses. And that was also something that I wanted to put in there to define the tiers, because that was the main intention of this council. So let me see. Did you had a chance to read it?
I
Or
had
is
a
there a
look through, and the 20%, 10%, 5% years, because what's it? Yeah, the Galaxy votes the 20%. That's what we're at now. A medium of 10% seems pretty good, and small props of 5%. Nothing significant can qualify for that tier, so I think that's a fairly okay number too. So yeah, it was definitely interesting to see the reasonings behind it from the different models. But yeah, what did anyone think of the brackets? Is 2010-5 seem adequate and safe, or did anyone have different numbers they were interested in?
Exactly. There wasn't much. Immaterial made a comment, and I will come to that. Otherwise, there was not much comments. I have now seen the message. I have to verify my number, multi-sig wallet number. I will do that as of now. I just checking if everything is correct, so that we can proceed here. So one short moment, please. Just want to double check because these are the addresses that are now being verified, as I understand. So Ledger Live is now the Ledger wallet for anybody who doesn't know.
We have chat going on there about options for the Gotchiverse and ideas for different versions of it, of a way to see the parcels, which is always cool. I think it would be great to be able to join up the parcels in some way and get the different districts going again. It was definitely a draw being able to wander around.
Yes, a smaller Gotchiverse. That was also the first idea that came to mind because, yes, it was a very big operations back then. And the simultaneity, like the whole Gotchiverse to have it live at one moment, same moment in time, wow, that was something special. And as Coda then said, it was the spec. But maybe it would be possible to scale it down to a format that would be also like liftable by the DAO. one would have to spec it out anew.
There were definitely some districts that were fuller and more decorated and lived in than others. So maybe some of those central districts would be a good starting point. And then the further out and more ghost towny the other districts were, they can be transformed into some sort of consolidated version.
Yeah, that would be the idea. It could be a competition, maybe even, you know, between the districts, and then you would have your first layer of some competitive action. Because I read, well, we spent very much time. There was this competition, this decoration competition. I found that was very much fun, and you remember, and
Definitely.
that was something. Yeah,
I think that was one of the real beauties of the parcels in the Gotchiverse in the 2Ds. We could run those art competitions or the decorating competitions, and they got a lot of interest. And I think it's a potential way of pulling people back in is if we could have things like that going again, because that really set off the different community vibes. It did get the district loyalty and factions forming, and it kind of really added a lot more for technically not much, just being able to decorate your parcels. But yeah, it was definitely fun, and it would be really cool if we could find a way of bringing back things like that.
absolutely. Much effect for not much investment, and yeah, it gave the feeling of being somewhere together and doing something together in the same place. So that was nice. So ledger, where does one see here? I'm using Trezor, so does everybody have also an 8-digit pin? It's a bit long one.
There we go. Just a heads up for anyone who hasn't heard, the GBM TG is coming up on the 27th of April.
Oh
So I know a lot of us jumped in and played with that. So pop that on your radar if you're interested.
It's long awaited.
For sure. And is that Mega ETH as well is coming up a few days after on the 30th.
What is coming up after that?
Oh, Mega ETH dying? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
there's
where does
still.
one Mhm.
Yeah, go on.
Where does one see the address in Ledger in the new app? I don't.
Oh, I can't help you there.
Okay.
In Ledger Live, is that what we're talking
Yeah.
about?
Well, they made it now differently. It is now the Ledger wallet. Ledger Live is now the Ledger wallet,
Yeah.
and yeah, and
I've
would
been
you?
playing with the Ledger quite a bit the last couple days.
Okay.
I think. Let me
PG is
see.
saying in receive.
Yeah, I was
see.
gonna say you click on receive
Ah.
and it'll open it. You got to copy the address. All these wallets like moving away from addresses. MetaMask is doing the same thing. Like you open MetaMask and it doesn't show your address. You got to like hunt for it.
Yes.
So frustrating.
Yeah, a little bit. So let's see. Now it shows. Okay. I had to attempt to initiate a transaction, and now it shows my now it shows my address. Perfect. Okay, address copied. Well, it's a security measure, right? Because well, the tricksters are also working on better and better modes. So, but a bit annoying. So now I have it. I can now confirm it in the chat. So fresh from the device. Yeah, checks out.
Nice.
Good, good, good. So sorry. Yeah, now I'm back with, and thank you. That helped. So yeah, it's a bit similar in Trezor. You also ideally have to initiate a transaction, but it works something more intuitively, and well, it's a bit more. Although I have a Trezor T, it's much more easier to navigate. But well, one get used to it certainly. Then with the standard, it's a nano. The nano ledger is very handy, small.
I know Futures just posted there. They need 3 more directors to sign a transaction now to
Add the new signers. That would
add
be
on the signer. Yeah.
so. As we are now, as I understand, adding all of the new ones in one transaction,
One batch.
one
Cool.
batch.
And then there'll be another transaction to remove the outgoing.
This is it, and that's
Mm.
bot.
Lovely. Oh, wow, we're nearly there with the multi-sig. Awesome. So with the, how are we going with our quorum tiers?
Yeah. Quorum, exactly. So where were we? As you said, my contention would be, I also had it like a hypothesis. If really every vote needs a galaxy vote, 20%, the LLMs mulled over arguments, counter arguments. Of course, the biggest counter argument is that you would have that a small minority could control some questions. That's of course the case, and that's of course the reason one has to keep, of course, all important decisions with a galaxy vote, but the ones that are not, deciding about the protocol or about any amount of big funds, they could have a smaller quorum, and that's the topic of the input I received in the thread from Immaterial. He said his position, he iterated it, everything above petty cash or everything that is beyond operational costs should be a galaxy vote. So that's of course a conservative position, and I have absolute understanding. I can live with any decision we make as a community. So it's really up to us. What is petty cash? What belongs to operational costs and what does not? Do we want, for example, another officer position and count that, of course, to the operational costs, so to speak, to increase them? Then how do we define these tiers? Where is this cutoff? And the LLM Council used the measure of the treasury. You take the treasury and you take a certain percentage of the treasury to calculate the tiers. That's one approach. As we know, budgets of countries or of companies measure their expenditures in like a mirroring of revenue and expenditure. So you could say expenditures above or above a certain in relation to the revenue. Yeah, and as we have now at this moment not that much revenue, but we should first ascertain how much do we have really, because we are, I think some LLMs also mentioned that we have some revenue through through what? Through the bazaar and also through liquidity provision. And you could also count as revenue what is now at the market maker, but that's ours and it's our revenue that we can calculate with. So the first would be a tally. How much is it that that is coming in? And do we want to have this as a measure of what is, so to speak, going out? And of course, you have different policies. You can drive a conservative policy, an austerity policy that, at this moment there are no expenses to be made. But of course, you could also say, well, what about investment? We cannot grow, and we want to grow. We want acquisition, user acquisition. We want to expand. That's also our mission, our constitutionally defined mission to evolve the protocol, the network, and user base with that. And you have to spend some money, at least some, or invest in some form. You have to invest something, whatever it might be. Could be assets too. Now we have, for example, that's another topic, but that is something that I think in preparation, I worked with my agent to create the prompts, and I let him press me on everything, every information that I could provide, and I couldn't provide the Gotchiverse rewards. So I don't even know how much that is. So that is not in the calculation. I would have to add now.
Okay, well, the Gotchiverse rewards, they were actually transferred over to the DAO, and they are 2,892,467 ghosts.
I understood 2.8. Is that right?
Yes.
2.8. Okay. That's in dollars about, let me see.
It was like 200, well.
Yes, 200 and something. 2.8. Well, 200,000 have or not have.
So that is another thing that we need to start brainstorming towards. How are these rewards going to be used? An opportunity to
Absolutely.
make something happen. We've got rewards to go with potentially some sort of event or something. So if we could mush everything together, we might be able to make something out of not much. So it's definitely something we need to start brainstorming for. But yes, back to the quorum. So
Exactly, back to the quorum, because I would just need some suggestions. I can write something into a prop and then it gets turned down because. Okay, if I write something, if I write a number, into the SIG prop, then there will be counter suggestions, of course. But maybe we could discuss it earlier. At least like the order. What is the maximum that can be voted on with a mid-tier 10% quorum? Simple question. Is it 5,000? Is it only 500? Is it 50? Because you cannot take the results from the LLM Council. They would say, yeah, like it's, let's say, 1% of the treasury. Yeah, of the treasury. Okay, we have now, let's say we have 2 million in the treasury. 1% is 20,000, and okay, that's it. But of course, the treasury is something that is moving and so on. Yeah, many options, but like from the order here, if we wanted to fund a project, because I think some projects you could lift off the ground with a few thousand. The developer needs just money to buy food, let's say. Okay, so you would have to pay him that he can work for 2 months or whatever. How much is it, for example? And I would rather have a few small investments than a big one. I think we all agree on that. No big risks, like something 5 digits, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K, maybe only in 4 digits. But what is it? And if we want to vote on that, I don't know. We don't need to define it, but it's one possibility to define it like that.
I mean, we could throw some polls into the thread and see what kind of brackets. 20% Galaxy vote, and is there a cap on maximum funding per proposal? I suppose that's something for Galaxy votes. Can no proposal be offered that's 10% or more of the treasury? And then medium, do we want to go up to 10K, or should that be a much smaller number, down to 5 or something in between? And again, maxed at 1%, which currently would be more than 10K, but again, that's another option. And then small proposals, 5%, should they have any monetary outlay, or should it be capped at like 1,000 US, or just purely non-financial decisions? Because it's only 5% quorum, so definitely not something we want to have too open to qualifying.
Not too open, you say, yeah. And Face says, drop the exact numbers. That's the point. It depends on how I want to calculate. It makes no sense to say a number, in my opinion. I think I would like to anchor that number in some relation to something.
A percentage of the treasury,
for example, or percentage of the revenues. So that's the first thing to decide. Or we don't need an anchor, or we make an arbitrary number. But in my view, it's okay with me. But I would choose rather, something.
Well, that's fair. Well, I mean, we have, if we take a look at the operational expenses, so voting to give the 10K retainer for the legal budget, should that be a medium proposal, or should that be
Question.
more?
It's a good
Because
question.
if that counts as medium, then that's the kind of size we'd need to accommodate for said proposals.
I think, yeah, for like governmental expenses or something that is
Recurring expenses.
yeah, like the maximum. If it is the same amount or number for like a game development project, that should be also the maximum for that. But just in principle, I think 10K sounds like reasonable. That would be if you take 2 million treasury, let's say, that's 0.5%. Yeah. Mhm. And wow.
That's reasonable.
So what would be 10K? Is 10K or should take 10K? We are defining that. Should 10K be already be still, right? Be still a mid-tier quorum mid-tier decidable amount. 10%. And now we could say yes, no, and make like a quick oh, yes, or maybe what is red? No.
Our poll is up. What do we think, guys? Should 10K be an amount that can be decided on with only 10% of quorum?
But you're completely
At
right
least for
that we.
governance expenses type things. Feels safe to me, and then I do think that if it was for a game, however, or some other type of development, that I think would be a different. Well, I don't think sentiment would agree that 10K for anything riskier would be included.
Yeah, it depends on our appetite. Yeah, that's the question that Codedan asks. What if someone spams a bunch of different proposals, all for 10K or under? We will have to have some review system and also some application system for that. That is something I would like to.
Definitely have to be a way to get rid of spam proposals and judging them.
Yeah, they have to fulfill standards.
Yeah. Do we still need any sort of permission to post a proposal? Is that still slightly gatekept, or
I wouldn't know.
I don't think it's a free for all.
There's now an interesting discussion about whitelisting, blacklisting. I think you could preempt that with if we had a form. If someone makes a proposal, there could be like a line: "Are you already applying for proposal currently?" Yeah? And it could be also done, I think, fairly, like impartially. We could check that by an LLM, of course. Yeah. That is, of course, reviewed and monitored and so on. But I think that was once a contention that okay, well, I didn't get the funding. It should be fairly standardized. And one thing, of course, would be deliverables. There would have to be something about what does the group or the person who asks for the funding plan to deliver on the one side. And of course, did he already deliver something? I mean, what was in the past was in the past, but currently, in this new system, are you simultaneously asking for funding in another project? That should be, of course, one point. And I can definitely let's design some of these such forms, and I think I will also try to make some questionnaires. We had that topic last week about the questionnaires. I think Musashi was here and said he would have some questions, and I would certainly like to to push that, to just get some feedback, and maybe also like make it a fixture.
No future here with is 10% quorum currently 3.6 million ghosts?
As I understand, yes.
Okay, so 10% quorum, yeah. And so what? And this is for the medium proposals.
That would be for medium.
So let's see. Let me double check what would fall in that category. So we want expenses for the foundation and things like that to fit.
That's exactly the point.
We don't want, well, nothing constitutional fits in there. That always has to be Galaxy.
Yes.
And let me see, where was that list?
And we mustn't forget, well, it has to be voted on, and
So liquidity, moving, XP events, recipe changes, XP, task forces. So things like that would fit. But anything more important or far-reaching consequences, burns, haunts, sales, rarity farming, larger expensed directors, and yeah. What we really don't know. What do we think? Does 300k sound like a governance risk, or realistically should everything serious fall under a Galaxy 20% quorum vote?
just 10% quorum at current ghost price is less than 300k. Wait, I thought it was 3.6 million. Like 20% is now 7.2 million. I don't quite understand the 300k number.
Be the value, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. In that sense, you mean? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay, so somebody would have to invest 300k to get the benefit or whatever it is, the advantage that would be attainable with the successful manipulation of the 10% quorum vote. That's the issue, right? Exactly. So that's the reason why, of course, would someone do that, invest 300k to like get a funding of 10k, or like not the yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can put in for multiple asks. I mean,
Yeah, but that's a
there
valid.
could
That's a
only
very
be so many active proposals from one author at one time, or have to be verified to some extent to even be whitelisted to submit a proposal. Proposals can be removed, so if anything egregious pops up, that can be addressed. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if 300k is 10%, then 600 is your 20%, and that's your galaxy vote. So I don't know. Are we all
Well,
just the
look,
risk we have
this
to
is
take?
something. This is something. These are valid. We want to make it as secure as possible, of course. So these are points that have to be addressed in the proposal. If we start to outline, and we are outlining it by that, if we are now starting to outline the proposal for a quorum tier change, if there is, if we all see, if the majority sees that it makes sense to change quorum, if I can assume that, then I will I will start working on that. And and the question is how to prevent something easily like that. And there could be like a clause,
Mm.
but who decides? Yeah, as Face says. I mean, if someone would play ping pong like with to try to game the system in a quite obvious way, I mean, we all would see that, right? But of
Mm-hmm.
course, we should have from our rules, seen from our rules, we should have then the option to say, okay, on what basis would we or would the DAO or let's say a gaming director or a treasurer or me decide, okay, that's not valid. This is not a proposal we can take into account.
Exactly. Yeah, we
And
definitely need to spill out some of these.
Mhm. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Everything that can be a safety issue should be addressed right in the prop. Yeah, any very easy way to exploit the system should be preempted beforehand. Ideally,
Exactly, as much as possible.
for example, a sign-off clause. Yeah, veto
Well, the
obvious.
director already has that power.
Yes, yes. I mean, if the communities would cry foul, and we would
Mm,
cry foul in such a case, then of course
we would.
I would use this discretion and well, yeah. In that case, of course, but it's always better, to have that like formalized. But there
Mm-hmm.
are safety measures that we have in place. That's why we have the signers and also the governance
Exactly.
structure. Yes, and
Yeah.
I think we have many still very those who are here very very attentive. So I don't think that it would go down under our noses, as one says, without us mentioning it.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
um,
Cool. Well, so yeah, I mean, we've got what happened with our poll. Let me jump back. Quiet poll. So
wow.
maybe we can do another one in the thread or link to it into the Gotcha Gang chat for anyone who didn't make the call. But yeah, currently we have agreement that 10k is a max that would be okay, but yeah, we have 3 ticks. Um, so yeah, definitely, we just need to pick some numbers and then, as was said, we'll get the feedback on what is or isn't um, suitable
Mhm.
when this does make it to proposal, because this quorum tiers will need to be a galaxy vote. So, we will hard code in some rules there on what definitely isn't acceptable for certain tiers, and that will give us some protections there in black and white. And then we have the signers and the director roles to provide their level of protection. And yeah, so we just need to discuss it out and see what we think, because it is, yeah, we need to have a way of getting small things through easily, things that aren't major changes. So if we could move faster through snapshots for, I don't know, I mean, if we
Mhm.
were to release something new, decorations or something for the land, would that be able to fall into a small, or would that have to
I
be
think so.
medium?
I think so. I think so. Like, that would be like a fun, contentious matter if we are discussing like a color or something like that. That's a
Hmm.
style issue, and I think, well, that would be, of course, in that case too, we should prevent trolling and some misuse
Hmm.
of the vote, of course. But I think something exactly in this category could be decided with 5%. Um, yeah, what does PG say? Yes, we should have an option to drown the voice.
Hmm.
Yeah. And and also, yeah, we can always abstain
And the
from
cool down.
signing. Hmm. Well, yes, that's another thing. It's cooldown. There are many modes of voting that can be also thought about, but the main issue is the overcoming of the voter apathy, to have a way how to decide on things that would be important or useful, but yeah, don't need the 20%.
Mm.
Like, I would have like to mention it shortly. If we think we need, that was just my idea, officers, because I want to like also revisit that and make it, because the proposal, for example, regarding the Treasury office, I have to look at it, should be reviewed, and with that we could define for the future offices and officers, or like personal, and maybe that would be my idea for AGIP 161. That would be based on AGIP 160, 160 being the AGIP that is concerned with the tiers. And on the basis of that, we could just start to work with the 10% quorum. And my idea would be, we have now a number, 10K. How about make it so that we would have possibility of voting on officers. That is, of course, standing DAO members, members of the community who would inhabit that office and be in charge, absolutely without my interference, or from. They would have the right to deal with this budget, the 10K, and do as they are, as it is foreseen by us, what the office or the project or whatever has in it. So that would be something where I think we could optimize the governance and also get more dynamics, more like delegation and more movement into it. And my idea has been, there was often the call for a gaming officer or a gaming commission or a gaming, somebody who is on it, all the time.
Yeah.
That would be an idea. And the other idea would be, I called it technology. You know, we have the AI issue, or like the age. We are now in this era. We have like Zbot working on it, and who was it? Nadiel, right? Or do I? Um, who made the idea
I think
with
that was the deal
the deal,
with the
right?
friend.
The friend, exactly. And I commented on the thread. I think, and I want to mention it here and say explicitly, I think we should go away from the contentious term of marketing, the more broader term, and I think more apt term for us would be public relations. And there could be a public relations office of Aavegotchi DAO, and as I see it, something like a friend, something like a system of marketing. Yeah, there is the word, something like a system of outreach has to employ some kind of AI system. Yeah. So, yeah. For example, yeah. Hmm?
Yeah, the friend looked interesting as far as kind of the daily postings and um, pulling from the lore and, the wiki, the history. But I mean, there would be a lot of information that's out of date in the wiki and stuff like that. So that obviously is going to throw it off a little bit. But my only thing that I thought with it was that maybe it was trying to engage too much per day. It just felt like maybe on the longer term scale, was it like
Mhm.
7 times a day might be a stretch to actually to not end up
Mm.
being repetitive or
Mm. Mhm.
but other
Well,
than
yeah,
that, I think it'd be great to have something more active, spreading the word.
yeah. I think you are just mentioning two topics that are important, right? Like the daily thing. So if Nadia would have in one of the next calls maybe something, then very much invited to show. I would, as you mentioned now, the wiki. Did you read the new wiki? There was some work over in the wiki as well as in the docs, but mainly the wiki. And I think Coder Dan mentioned it that he had his claw go over it, and I have to say there are some new things that are quite interesting, but that could also be expanded. And my idea of employing a bot, maybe there are some similar concepts that NADL has, would like have it work on a library. Yeah, on a library, maybe on a history. I saw the term history several times in the past days in the chat, working on a history of Aavegotchi, and maybe even work like autonomously, autonomously, an evolving system now, like with Hermes, the new AI, something that's learns by itself, the, uh, the friend that learns by itself, who is like the custodian of our Wikipedia, and evolves with, yeah, with what we are accumulating.
Yeah, I'm just checking out the wiki now. I didn't see the updates before, so
No?
that's
You
very
should look.
cool.
It's cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like it very much. Like the
awesome.
Egypts are in there. Oasis is again mentioned, but Coda then invited us to work. One can get access to the GitHub, and work on certain question. You just can work on it and then like make a push to GitHub, and he still has to approve it, of course, but
Mhm.
that's possible. So
Very cool.
yeah, that's also
Lovely.
something. But as I say, I think an office of public relations would make sense, and that would be something. Yeah, that is for me, in my mind, connected with the Quorum Tier proposal, because I think we could decide on that. An office with a 10K budget. Yeah, let's if someone is interested in it, it's like an job proposal, so to speak, and thinks he has an idea that he can bring forward with 10K and some government backing, so to speak. Then, well, we could create that possibility. And well, if it goes good, if it is something that's successful, then it can be expanded.
Exactly. There we go. Very cool. So yeah, so we do definitely need to jump into some threads. I think we really need to start a thread for the player awards for the Gotchiverse. They're there
Yeah.
and in our hands, and we need to come up with a way to make the most of them. Come up with some way of distributing them and rewarding Gotchiverse players. So
So how about making someone responsible for it and voting,
mhm.
voting in a gaming officer, or yeah, something like that.
Fair
whose
idea.
responsibility would be the generation of ideas or the creation of a concept, and then of course management of the budget, this gaming budget, because as I understand it, these rewards are exclusively for gaming.
Yes. They're the
Okay.
player awards, they're the rewards that we didn't get a chance to access when 2D stopped raining down. So the Alchemica. So yeah, it has a very defined group to target. And yeah, we just need to decide what are we going to do with them and
Mm.
make the most of them in a way of tying these rewards with one or two other things to make a little some kind of event, something that can pull people in, something that can stimulate the bazaar, something not just to give them away rewards, but something we can play for or something active. And maybe that be a nice little moment we can have to revitalize the idea of the Gotchiverse. But yeah,
Right. Oh, yeah. Is there also Alchemica in them in these rewards, or only Ghost?
I think that was once Alchemica, maybe.
Hmm.
I'm not sure because I know Alchemica was supposed to be Sunset, but I know it still exists. So maybe that can technically be revived well as well in some
I
way.
would say, I
'Cause
would
it's
say
on
true. Yeah.
chain, so it's there.
Hmm.
Um, I know the mhm. Yeah, I know we had the burn contests, and there's been plenty of talk of parcel burning. I don't know. I feel like there has to be a better, more fun alternative. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, we might have to, make something or build something to accommodate it. A way of accessing our parcels. We could tie it together with that in some way. Um, Decorating always went well, and that also gives us the option of adding things to the bazaar, new decorations, new themes and seasons, so that the bazaar can keep moving a little bit. Um, People always like to customize.
Yeah, and collection of ideas is in
Hmm.
any case in place. Um, and you know, what, for example, what you just said, you point your LLM to it, you point it to the wiki, and then that what you just said would be a perfect prompt, and you would say, yeah, give me that in like a concise way as a as a concept, for a possible proposal, for example, or for
Hmm.
possible discussion. And that's like one prompt, a few, a few links for the LLM of your choice, and you have your, yeah, you have your idea fleshed out, maybe a little bit more, and then you make another iteration, and so on. You know how that works. So perfectly like that, because it's not so easy, yeah, to really flesh out a whole system of like mm, an event or like a competition or something like that. Many moving parts,
Mm.
but one can nowadays really quite fast and efficiently get some assistance on that. So yeah, well, we are
Definitely.
mhm, at the
Because,
beginning of this process.
yeah, because we have a lot of bits that are make up, what we have. Like we have at the moment we have a small little Gotchiverse that we can jump into. We can fight things alchemica rains down and other tokens. We can meet up with each other. We can walk around a little bit in that area. We have the gotchis. They can be dressed up because
Yeah.
they can be
Mhm.
played in different games. They can go into the Gotchiverse. I don't know if they're a complete requirement, but they can vote in the DAO once you have X amount of assets. We have the wearables. We have decorations for the land. There was technically mining, which I think technically still exists on the land, the
I do it.
farming. Yeah, so that still exists. We have Alchemica, that's not gone yet, so it can be revived. We have a few games that are finished, some that are still online and able to be played, some that can be revived, because I think Gotchi Minor was one
Mm-hmm.
that was potentially going to make a comeback soon. And we also have all the developer side stuff, all the SDKs and sprites and bits you need to make something. So, how do we roll it all into a ball or a few bits? And
Yeah, you know how it is with snowballs. You start with one small one and start rolling, and with a bit of patience and good snowy conditions, you have your big ball of fun.
you do. I mean, the only thing I could think of that would incorporate everything and is playing with fire, though, is like we have all those bits there. I mean, how far
Uh-huh.
away someone that knows developing and whatnot, how far
Uh-huh.
away would it be from rolling all that together to make our own not evil version of Roblox?
Yeah,
Technically,
that's the
like
Gotchiverse idea. Yeah, yeah.
we
Not
have
evil. Yeah,
all the
yeah,
parts, yeah, that's the
yeah.
key.
Uh,
But I mean, we have the ability to connect to wallets. We have NFTs to play. They can be customized. We have the bazaar. We can do that. So it's just this. We have all the assets for the games. So I imagine there's a few more that would need to be added to aid the
mhm.
creation of mini games and worlds and whatever someone would
Y-
make. Um, so yeah, how big of
mhm.
a push would it really be to do something like that? Is that even possible, or is that crazy can of worms?
No, that's. I think that's definitely possible. We have these parts. Funny, is Zaunzi still here? No. I was a bit chatting with him about that. Like, as you say, Roblox or Fortnite also has this map maker. You know, in Fortnite, the players
Mm,
can like make the mini games, their own mini games. And they're quite simple, but they are, as I saw, very popular. You just go steps up. You know, you're jumping. I think in our snowy uh, Gotchiverse, we had something like a similar thing where you had to jump up and jump up. Very simple game. But as you say, the games, you named them, all the assets. We could have on-chain money system very easily, very cheap, with different, yeah, with the Alchemica. Um, it has to have a director. It has to have someone who takes over operations. Even if you now
mhm.
employ AIs, there has to be someone who like oversees the daily steps of implementation. And first, of course, that's also now as you work with the AIs, the most important step, making many iterations on the plan. You know, how will this be implemented? But I think that would be the main effort to make a plan.
Yeah, it's definitely an idea. And the gotchi poker is, again, it's in the chat there. It's been mentioned for donkey's years now. Um, really feels like that should be a pretty light lift at this current level of tech and AI and coding and everything. So I don't know, is it just whoever makes it first wins? Like, do we
Um,
just need to have a little hackathon between ourselves to like stimulate?
Hmm.
making something again, because once we kind of just get a little bit of momentum, and then we can get things going through Snapshot, they're a little bit more on the fun side of things as opposed to just
Mhm.
governance proposals, which
I'm
definitely
sorry,
isn't helping the apathy.
that's what I signed
But
up for. But I'm
mhm,
surely backing. Love our games, and I'm surely backing anything that is that is going into that direction, as well as poker. Aside from the things like, is it well in our verse? I think it should also have a place. I don't know. It's like from the legislature, if it would be like not for kids, of course, over 18 or
mm,
over 21,
mhm,
depending on we would have to have such an area, okay, even if we don't play for money, but which is another step, but
yeah,
also that would be thinkable, for fun, and we could play for NFTs, for example. Why not? Or something that can be exchanged. Yeah, like you can circumvent that. But what you say is it's a perfect idea, like a non-evil Roblox world where very easily drag and drop, like you
it
can
would,
create your
mm,
game. Mhm. Or
it would
do
definitely look better than Roblox, that's for sure. Because
oh yeah,
Gotchi and
oh yeah.
Gotchi World, the wearables, everything just looks 1,000 times better than that thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's an idea.
Mhm.
We've already technically been doing it with all the different proposals over the years to make something using the assets or using the gotchis. So what if we
Exactly.
just, package that into a box, and bears are for
Mhm.
building and the market is not the most euphoric. So maybe some
Yeah.
board devs out there could migrate their way over and start making things, and people can play them. Maybe you could have kids in there playing, but just not able to have chats and things to kind of keep that whole safe, not evil vibe going. I don't know,
Mhm.
but it seems like something that could be doable.
Yeah.
But even just the poker game as well. I mean, just something simple, something that a few friends can organize to have a lobby, join a game
Yeah.
together. Um, they can set their own games on own rules on private
Hmm.
games. You can have winner takes all. You can, whatever level of playing you want to agree to, go for it, and
Exactly.
why not?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We could easily provide also like some kind of escrow. So if people want to play, what people do in their private rooms, sure, shall stay private. But we could also provide the infrastructure. You could have an escrow, like a wallet. That unlocks. When a certain win condition is achieved. Everybody agrees on that,
Hmm.
and what you put into that escrow could be any digital asset that you want, NFTs, coins of whatever sort, and well, there you have it, and you have your yeah, and you're even
Yeah,
legally, I think, secure, but mainly the. The possibility to meet, yeah, and socialize
mm,
and have the feeling that you are among others, yeah, yeah.
yeah, not solo through the digital world. Yeah, something where people can come together, and then the moment you have any of these types of games or experiences or whatever you call them, then you can start linking them up and having tournaments and challenges and prizes and leaderboards and all that fun stuff. So,
Okay, but the question is, what would a dev need? Like, I'm not like a developer.
mm,
Apart from the budget, let's say, um, let's let's
yeah, I mean,
let's
so
imagine
obviously
that.
you're making stuff. What's missing that's not easily accessible as far as the 2D or the 3D or anyone else that's playing with little projects, of all the assets that we currently have? I know they're a little bit scattered. But Zonzi posted his link a few times there,
Mhm.
Archie Lol. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of gaming assets. I don't know how much we have as far as environments and textures or whatever else would be needed.
It's just
Just
I think the SDK that Codadan just showed, but would be a starting point. But okay,
For
it should
sure.
be, like you say, an expandable library of textures and maybe
Yeah.
objects, because you have to fill the world, of course, not only with the gotchis and but also yeah, with some environment. But that could be also like brand approved by, yeah, I think
Yeah.
by Siebert.
Everything's kind of themed, sticks with the vibe, sticks with the IP, sticks with what we know and love. You've got 2D and 3D versions to pick your poison. And I think
Yeah,
a lot of little things can be made, and
I'm
some are
sure.
very small. Some could be even just revived versions of the original mini games we had. They were popular enough. And if they
Oh
were
yeah,
just there playable on the page, there'd be something
yeah.
we could spread the word about, and different people, groups, communities can jump in and have their own games together, and kind of just slowly
Yeah,
build from that. Would be nice.
that would be nice. What would a developer need to like probably one of us or someone befriended? Would it make sense to create such a position, like you know, what would it be called, like a gaming infrastructure officer? Uh,
That sounds
um,
scary. I know we were
yes,
talking a few weeks back, there was potentially having another call midweek or another day where it was just for kind of the dev side and people that want to make something or try and make something or have ideas but
yeah,
need someone else to make it. So, I mean, that I think would be a great start to have just another
mm,
call where people, casual um, learners, welcome to see, what goes into the behind the scenes side of it and what does it take, what's missing. Um,
yes. Yes, on the one side, I like that you say learners welcome, of course, and maybe some rookies, so to speak, some dev rookies would have, the energy and the, also the naivete, yeah, because that's often helpful if you tackle some bigger project. But that's an idea, and one topic of this meeting could be to think about, like brainstorm at the beginning, how would one how would you do that, to combine this. But I think the central point that you mentioned is the possibility to create those mini games. That is,
mm,
mhm,
make it easy.
yeah, as easy as possible. Is that possible to make it easily possible?
Because I think in theory we already have made it pretty easy with all the SDK stuff that's there. Um, so, and if DeFi Dungeons is going to be open sourced a bit, and I think
Mm,
maybe other games in the future, I mean, that's a lot of resources for people to make stuff. So maybe that's something we should leverage. It's already nearly there.
mm,
Maybe that would be like low hanging fruit, roll it all into a bowl and see what impact it has.
yeah.
It could be another use for XP then. If you're playing the games, you're earning, or winning the games, you're earning XP. If you're making them and they're popular, there you go, more XP. We could, start linking it into filling the holes in our
Mm,
Gotchiverse and Gotchi world.
yeah. Yeah, just try to imagine how best to yeah, prepare the infrastructure to make it enticing for someone to, like, to tackle that. Of course, there would have to be like some budget for the
Mm-hmm.
person who uh, well, sets their mind on that, every day with a few hours of his or her time. So of course that would have to be rewarded. Um, and the question is, yes, I would like to have that very safely, like with the quorum tiers, as we discussed, not easily exploitable. It would have to be an earnest attempt at that thing, but it well, the deliverable would be like a plan for something like that, and of course we would have to like flesh out a little bit more the specs of what we are expecting. But if someone comes with like a concept or an idea, well, then let's look at it and be gracious and thankful that it is the case, and yeah, and think about how to implement it, because as you say, yeah, there is some connectome or glue-on stuff that needs to be implemented, because the parts are plenty. The parts are plenty, as you say. Mhm. And regarding XP, well, as I see now, at some point down the road, there will be the protocol, yeah, be completely directed by the DAO. So whatever happens then also with XP, for example, is then up to a community vote. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but let's take it step by step. So the next step would be, thank you very much. Like a concrete idea, concrete mission or vision, like of the Gotchiverse is. I think that is something that is uniting most everybody of Gotchi Gang, and yeah, let's think about that.
For sure. Just definitely. Probably just need to hit the forums, maybe start a couple of threads and see what kind of ideas we can get out there. See how much will it take to make the next move.
And I think so much could be really in the budget. An earnest attempt. I think that is something we can rally around to, not like a concrete game, but make it possible to have a really DAO produced and worked on and owned verse. That's yeah, that would be a mission that is uniting, I think.
For sure. For sure. Well, I mean, it's good the chat's been buzzing away there and been some
Very cool.
ideas thrown around. So yeah, so I guess I myself I don't have anything else. Does
We
anyone have
covered
anything? Yeah,
we covered a lot. We covered a lot. Yeah, let's ask
we
the
did. Exactly. Use the
hackathon.
default, a hackathon. I like it. I think we
Mhm.
have a few people here that are already playing with things like this. So I think if we get those minds together, make it publicly accessible with a call once a week or whenever to chat, have ideas, and make together and learn and share knowledge. Maybe we can get a bit of momentum behind something that we can get to a marketing point or get to just yeah, a completed product that we can say, well, we have this now. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Mhm. As you said, yeah, the brand. The brand is the brand. It's. I think it's aesthetically very pleasing. Still, that remains the case. And yeah,
Hmm.
bring it for more eyes, and maybe also, yeah, like think about what it stands for. And I think it's certainly, mm, you know, a lot of autonomous and um, yeah, what is characteristic, yeah, of Aavegotchi, that I think is something everybody can ask himself, herself. What is it that like um has spoken to me and brought me here and let me stay here? Um, I think it has
For
to
sure.
have something to do with like a love for, experiments, autonomy, independence, something in that realm. But of
And
course, that's
community was the glue that kept us together for a long time. We had community events, and I really feel we need something that can revive some new types of community events. Sorry, I got a thunderstorm going on here, and my dog's not impressed. But yeah,
yeah, a ritual. Yeah, a ritual. Something that attracts also others who are asking themselves, "What is that?" That looks interesting. I'll try that. Exactly. Oh, a
cool.
thunderstorm. Then, well, hopefully it passes. And
We will see. The bucket's out again. I still have no new roof, but hey, I'm on Portuguese time.
oh yeah, so that's minus 2, right? From Central Europe, I think. So I think from Vienna it's -1, I think. Yeah. So it's a bit earlier. So the evening will be sunny again.
Awesome. Cool. Well, on that note, guys, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Nestor, for joining on stage. Thank you
Thank
everyone
you.
in the chat for all the chatting and ideas. And yeah, let's see what happens in the threads and the forums this week, and maybe we can get something rolling. So thanks everyone, and peace out. See you next time.
Keep rolling. Have a nice weekend.
Ciao, ciao, guys.